Greetings, I'm Zachary Hepner. I'm pleased to share this Torah with you for Parashat Lech-Lecha. Forefather Avram, who later became Avraham, was born in Ur, relocated to Haran, and became a wandering Aramean, without apparently having asked any questions why he should do so from his father Terah or God. Let's enumerate his wanderings. By divine fiat, he immigrated to Canaan. There he passed Shechem to Elon Moreh, then to a mountain between the east and west of Bethel and Ai, then further south, and further more south to Egypt, where Sarah was conscripted to Pharaoh's harem and saved by divine intervention. He returns south of Bethel. When he parted ways with nephew Lot, instead of saying, if you go south, I'll go north, and if you go north, I'll go south, the language is, if you go left, I'll go right, and if you go right, I'll go left. A point we will deal with later. Lot, whose name means cursed, takes the Jordan River plains, and Avraham heads south. At this point, God appears to Abraham, promises the land to his descendants, who will be numerous. And in chapter 13, verse 17, arise, walk through the land in the length of it and the breadth of it, for unto thee I will give it. I will return to this verse later. Then Abraham sets up a tent in Hebron next to the terebinths of Mamre, Elon Moreh. Chapter 14 makes the raid on Entebbe look easy. The 5 fiefdoms are defeated by the belligerent 4 fiefdoms. Nephew Lot is captured. Abraham and his entourage smite the 4 fiefdoms and pursue them as far as Dan, a territory in the north, which will be named after Abraham's great-grandson, Dan. Abraham goes even more north to Chovah, just left of Damascus. Rashi says Chovah is in Dan, while Targum Onkelos and Shadal says it left means north. So Abraham pursued even farther north of Damascus. The rest of the Parsha is not geographical and changes topics about the Brit Bein HaBetarim and Brit Milah. In the Brit Bein HaBetarim, covenant between the pieces, God tells Avraham, Bayomahu karat Hashem et Avram Brit lemor lezarecha natati et haaretz hazot minahar Mitzrayim ad hanahar hagadol nahar Prat. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Avram, saying, Unto thy seed I have given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Let's return to the original questions. Why is Avraham such a wandering Aramean? What is the meaning behind the elucidation, where he did tread? And why are the directions with Abraham always cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west? But with Lot and the town Chovah and the city Damascus, the directions are relative, left and right, not cardinal directions. Let's throw in an intertextual question. Why in the end of Sefer Dvarim, during the Bikurim ritual, does the farmer declare to the temple priest, Arami Oved Avi, my forefather was a wandering Aramean? Why is the Bikurim basket raised? And why is Arami Oved Avi, my forefather was a wandering Aramean, a question? Is it a question or an answer? Lastly, in the Bikurim, the farmer says Arami Oved Avi as a response to Ve'anita. Is he answering a question? What is the question? And how is Abraham, as a wanderer, part of the answer? And to what unspoken question? At first glance, it would seem that Abraham's descent to Egypt was a prologue for Hagar to become Sarah's handmaid, introducing the alternative inheritor drama. And the Lot narrative was a red herring narrative about a false inheritor. Let's review chapter 13:17 and 15:18. Walk the land its length and breadth, it will be given to you. And in chapter 15, unto your seed I have given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the Euphrates. Abraham's walking was a fulfillment of his manifest destiny. Cross the Euphrates, walk all the way down to Egypt, all the way up to Dan. God said, walk the length and breadth. Abraham walked length and breadth, using cardinal directions. Not so the case with Lot. Lot, no pun intended, had no lot. He was not given the option to choose cardinal directions. He had to choose the left or right. But Abraham's reaction to Lot's choice were indeed cardinal directions. Same with the pursuit to the north of Dan. The upper limit of the Holy Land is Dan. Rashi didn't want to assign Damascus as promised territory to Abraham, so Rashi said that Chova was a town in Dan. But Targum and Shadal understood that Chova being to the left of Damascus meant that Chova and Damascus were not part of the cardinal locations promised by the Almighty. This creates a neat inclusion of the entire Torah. The first thing we know about Abraham is that he walks the borders of the Holy Land to fulfill his manifest destiny. In the Bikurim ritual, which is right before the rebuke and curses, which parenthetically resonates with Lot, but that is off topic, it starts with chapter 26. When you enter the land that the God is giving you as a heritage, and you possess and settle it, and you recite as follow before your God, my father was a wandering Aramean. He went down to Egypt, etc. It's all about the ownership of the land. Bikurim echoes the mandated wanderings of Abraham of his future promised land. Furthermore, Bikurim echoes the conversation Abraham had with Melchizedek and the king of Sodom, after having saved Lot from his captors. Let me read Mishnah Bikurim chapter 3. Odenu hasal al ketafo koreh mihigati hayom laHashem Elokecha. While the basket was still on his shoulder, he recites from Mehigati until he completes the passage. Rabbi Yehuda says, until Arami Oved Avi. Then he takes the basket off his shoulders and holds it by its edges, and the priest places his hand beneath it and waves it. He then recites it from Arami Oved Avi until he completes the entire passage. Then he deposits the basket by the side of the altar, bows, and departs. Melchizedek, the priest to the high God, blessed Avraham. The king of Sodom then requests Avraham for people and goods. Abraham rebukes the king of Sodom in the same manner that the Bikurim basket is lifted up and offered and left for the priest. Vayomer Avram el melech Sodom, harimoti yadi el Hashem Elyon koneh shamayim va'aretz. I have lifted my hand up unto the Lord. I will not even take a shoestring or thread. Nobody will say that they made Abraham rich. I hope this provided a deeper understanding into Abraham's wanderings, the contrasted left and right direction, the wanderings connection to Bikurim, and the captured Lot narrative, and most importantly, why the text appears to provide too many geographic details. My Avi Moreh, adds, the missing question that Anita answers is, why are you bringing these first fruits? What are you doing here? The answer is Arami Oved Avi. My forefather, Abraham, was directed to walk the length and breadth of this land, and now I, his descendant, am expressing gratitude for this inheritance. If you were to drive around the four corners of the Promised Land today, you would go in and out of network coverage. Abraham didn't have cell network or a GPS. He had faith and trust, and that never goes out of coverage. When we deliver our Bikurim, thanking the Almighty for the Promised Land, our gratitude is always in service. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.